This is Cuidigh Linn. We are in Muirhevnamor. We started in October 2007. It was started because there was a survey to see what services people felt that there was none of. And when the figures went back, they realised that the older people in the estate felt that they were a bit isolated and that they felt vulnerable because of maybe crowds of young people, and that they just wanted something for themselves.
A basic day, someone could phone, or maybe only out of hospital, and they need maybe ask us to could we run and do a bit of shopping for them, pick up prescriptions. Sometimes we have maybe the occupational therapist might ring to say, I've given such and such grip rails and handrails and I've no one to put them on, will you go out and put them on for them? And for each thing that we do, we charge like a community price. We also do gardening, because the thing about the gardening is if someone's in their home and they're no longer able to tend to their garden, or that the house starts to look shabby and run down, and then the wrong type, it attracts the wrong type of person. So if we're there keeping on top of it for them, plus it annoys people. Some people get really upset if they can't get their grass cut or their. So we do that, and then we also do a bit of papering and decorating. So what'll happen is someone will phone and say, listen, I need my living room decorated. We'll go and give a price, we'll agree the price, and if they agree, then we'll go and do the work. And I have to say that we've been blessed with our staff from day one. There's no one here for big wages, let me assure you. They'll work for minimum wage. And the way the finances work is that the government give us so much towards the wage, and then we have to generate the rest of the income for running costs.
Sometimes we will cover, because we get a lot of phone calls from Tusla and community nurses, different agencies alone, and we might have people that are vulnerable who wouldn't be 65 and plus, but may be in need of some help and support. We do tidying up, we do shopping, we do general maintenance, we do decorating, painting and wallpapering, and we don't do anything that we need a qualified person such as electrician or plumbers. We covered the whole of the Dundalk area, though originally we were set up for Muirhevnamor, but because the services were needed so badly, we now cover Dundalk and outskirts. We could go out. We could go outside the town, we go to Blackrock, we go out the Carrot Road. There's a radius.
So we've been lucky enough, we got a wee van from the lottery. We also met the secret millionaire and we got another wee van, so we had two vans. And then other stuff we can apply for grants. We have a database of about 700 people. Some people might use us twice a year. Some people might use us every week. Some people might use us whenever they need us. We also have a wee group going at the moment called, which we got funding for, Keeping in Touch, which is really just about going and sitting with someone for an hour, having a cup of tea and a bit of crack, and just checking in with them. We'll stay with that person for maybe 4 weeks and then we'll move on.
Well, the statutory services that would use us would be the county council, who will approach us because a lot of the houses in this area of Muirhevnamor would be council properties. So if the council approach a tenant and feel that the house hasn't been kept up to the standard, they will approach us to see if we can help out. We would have social workers where maybe families have got themselves into a bit of difficulty and aren't in the position to go and get somebody to come in and decorate, and there might be small children or something in the house. We would have the likes of Alone who will contact us, because they would do a service where they give people a phone call every day. So someone may come to their attention that may need medical supplies picked up and don't drive and have nobody to pick it up. We would have a good relationship with community guards who would call in, and if we feel that someone may need even just a chat with a guard to put their mind at rest for anything. We would have a good relationship with most of the other groups in the area.
I'm originally from Belfast. I moved to Dundalk 38 years ago. When I came to the estate first, I found there was very little interaction between people. It would just seem to be houses upon houses. There was one shop in the middle of the estate, and that was it. And it just seemed very barren and dismal. And as we were living here for a while, then we got involved with other women who wanted to see changes in the estate. So we did a survey, a massive survey, and the things that come out, there was a few things that come out of it. One of them was there was no doctor's surgery, there was no chemist, there was no credit union, there was no community, and there was no creches. So you couldn't take everything, and we could only take what was viable. So some of us started a credit union, and some others got involved with the creche. Now I went with the credit union, and we took us a year's training, and we eventually started. And it was very successful in the area. It helped people, and you learned more about the people then, because it was just a Holy Family credit union. And they all started joining, and one of the main reasons we started it was because of moneylenders in the area. The place was rife with moneylenders. So as you got the word out that people could come to us and borrow small amounts of money, we basically got rid of moneylenders in the estate. And then you got to know everyone, and other things happened, you know, community things like were starting to happen. The creche also was very successful, and now to date, after that many years, it's one of the most successful creches in Ireland. It's a community-based creche, and it's a standard for other creches.
I work here in a project called the Invictus project. The word Invictus can mean so much to so many. For me personally, it means that there is nothing that we can't overcome if we apply ourselves. You know, we have the Invictus game, we have the Invictus film about Nelson Mandela. One of the roles that I have is working with young people. Our ethos is very simple. We want to improve the quality of lives of all the people in the area, and we do have a particular focus on young people. So that is, you know, keeping them out of trouble, trying to help and support them to make better decisions. We have a mantra: it's easier staying out of trouble than it is getting out of trouble. We like to build relationships with the young people and try and get them to see some of the positive stuff rather than try and push the positive stuff on them, like taking personal responsibility for the area in which they live, trying to improve it, and the stuff that doesn't improve it, to stay away from it.
In terms of refereeing last weekend and the weekend before, there was the Muirhevnamor Cup final held here on Muirhevnamor's football pitch in the park of Muirhevnamor. I done a linesman in that. Earlier on that morning, I done a linesman in an under-13s Challenge Cup final, and then the day before that I done under 12s and under 15s Challenge Cup finals as well.
We try to be solution-led, certainly not problem-led. We will always try and improve every problem within the area, and some of the young people are tremendous in the stuff that they've done. Some of the young people I have worked with in the past have now their own families, and I'd love to see them coming home from work when I would meet them out, and they're doing relatively well. And you know, I would take a bit of, you know, kudos out of that for Cuidigh Linn, for the Invictus project, and for others who work in the area, you know, as being some sort of positive influence in their lives, and helping them make, you know, good decisions, you know, for themselves, and in turn for their families, and in turn for the community.
I'm here 40 years, and I suppose the biggest change, starting with the negative, would be the drugs and the effect, the knock-on effect then of drugs. And it's really hard for the kids that live in this area, because it's not hid, it's in your face, and it's very hard to keep the kids, you know, on the right road when they look at those that aren't on it, and it looks so lucrative. You know, they've all the lovely fancy clothes, they've all the cars, they've beautiful homes, and it's very hard to say, I know, but you know, stay on this road. You know, let's talk about education. Now, again, we're very blessed with the kids that we have coming in, and we really admire them because they live in close proximity of drug dealers, and as I say, it's openly so. That's massive. 40 years ago, that didn't exist.
There is, I suppose, a lot of bad stuff goes on in this area, like every area throughout the state, north and south. A lot of it, I believe, is poverty led. You know, people make bad decisions when their back's against the wall. If they have to, you know, pay a bill, you know, maybe function heating and eating, you know what I mean, living on some of the monies that they have, you know, it is very, very difficult. So in comes bad decisions on many occasions. What I don't condone any of it, I do understand it. I would like to see more investment in the areas. I always find that the services are slow at helping, but very quick at punitive measures. You know, if we look for support for young people, you know, there's a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy, making fit this criteria or that criteria. I don't feel as people who work on the ground, we get the ear and the purpose, you know, as in we know what we're talking about, and we do have a good skill set within the area that is developing all the time, and our word should count for an awful lot of stuff. I think it's invaluable to build relationships with young people within the area and their families and older people as well. We have a cross-community tie-in with the PUL community in the north. That's a Protestant Unionist and Loyalist community, and that's to expand, you know, the thinking power for young people. So we would open their minds to other people's identity, other people's culture, other people's thinking, as well as question their own identity, their own culture and their own thinking, and that in turn should give them a better understanding and moving forward as adults.
So I worked on a project around Muirhevnamor was called the Wise. So basically, Wise comes from a term that said it's about people who are wise to something. I used that because it was based doing around the stigma around being from a council housing estate. And obviously, what I was trying to do was create that the audience were wise to the stigma that comes from being, because a lot of people choose to ignore it or, you know, reinforce this idea that because you're from a council housing estate that you are somewhere lesser. So I wanted to show the photograph the people from Muirhevnamor, show that kind of community. But obviously I was aware that when you go into Muirhevnamor, it's council housing estate, this is generally, you know, every house looks the same, they all look the same, they're all built the same, that, you know, they have this, it's grey, it's bleak, and it kind of is allowed to get run down. So the outside doesn't match the community, and like when you go into people's houses, you see the pride that they have in their house. So I basically photographed them in their houses, so it was to show their interior and how they created the home.
My name is Trish Lambe and I'm director at Photo Museum Ireland, which is Ireland's National Centre for Contemporary Photography. We're located in Dublin, but we actually do projects all across the island of Ireland, and I'm actually from Dundalk myself. And this is my colleague, as part of our curatorial team, Darren Campion. And both myself and Darren have worked with Ciarán over about the past 10 years or so. And we have featured his work in a number of exhibitions, and Darren most recently worked with Ciarán on his artist publication, Diesel. Ciarán brings a unique perspective to his practice. He works very much as a photographer who works within his own community. So, you know, photography is sometimes a problematic medium. People have moved away from documentary practices of late because this notion of somebody coming in from outside and telling the story of a community and disappearing off again has kind of come to the end of its runs, because now we're all photographers and we all take photographs. That notion of somebody else telling our story seems to be more outdated than perhaps it was in the past. And also a lot of people are now a lot more critical about the vantage point. Who is telling their story and why, and what is the medium of the message, what are the powers that be behind the representation. And I think particularly in this world of post-truth, or whatever truth is, I think that it's really important that communities and individuals speak to their own experience. So this is why an artist like Ciarán Dunbar is really important in terms of the canon of photography in Ireland. You know, the experience of towns such as Dundalk, a border town, who suffered quite significant during the Troubles, even though it suffered economically and socially. It experienced a large influx of people coming from Northern Ireland, and there were social issues around that, issues around deprivation, marginalisation, and Ciarán is really well placed to speak to his own personal experience and also the community's experience of this. And it's those kind of perspectives that have often been overlooked in photography in Ireland. So it's really important that those communities, that their perspective, that their experiences are represented by people who can give an authentic, or if subjective, representation of that. So that's why Ciarán is really important. It's often uncomfortable when we show the world as it really is. I think particularly in Ireland, as a country that's experienced colonisation and then a large tourist industry, we're used to notions of ourselves and perspectives of ourselves, and we sometimes get a little bit uncomfortable, I think, with contemporary photography when things get too close to the bone or reveal too much. We're used to, in our family album pictures in particular, presenting the best version of ourselves. So I think Ciarán's skill and expertise is in making a representation of his own community that shows life as it is, but still framed within a very respectful approach. So I think that's what's really unique about Ciarán's work.
I'm living in the estate 40 years plus, so I probably know a lot of the people that we kind of end up doing work for, because a lot of the community here are the community that have been here for years. So no, it's a good community. It's people kind of look out for each other. It's a good area to live in.
It is a good place to live. It's a nice place to live. You know, going to some of the new estates now, and the houses all seen on top of one another. Like, it's a good, big, spacious place. We have the Piercy, we have the Muirhevnamor Soccer Club, which is a fantastic club. We have running clubs. There's all sorts of opportunities and people that, you know, do all the voluntary work to keep these clubs going. And it's just encouraging the young ones to go to them and stay in them, and, you know. But I mean, we do have them. We also have 2 schools in this district. We have the Gael School and we have St Joseph's, which are 2 really good established primary schools. So we're lucky in that way. And as of late, I'd say maybe in the last 10 years, Muirhevnamor has become very multicultural.
There's always somebody trying to help people in the area. So to me, that's what makes a good estate. When there's somewhere that you can go and you know you'll be listened to, and they mightn't be able to solve your problem, but they'll listen to it and they'll help if they can. And sometimes all people need is someone to listen to them.